Welcome to Hire, Lead, and Chill.
All right, it's got to be Tuesday. We got Hire, Lead, and Chill today, but as I drop everything on the ground, it's not 4 p.m., it's 10 a.m. So we're getting, I gotta tell you, last week I was supposed to have this man on, and I'm going to just throw it out there, and I screwed up I'm used to 4 p.m. Eastern time, and John and I had scheduled it like a month and a half, 2 months prior. And so when I get off my railroad track just a little bit, it screws me up. So I apologize that we didn't have this on last week. But I do have Jon Majak on today. How you doing, buddy?
Dude, I'm doing great. Don't apologize. Life sometimes it's supposed to happen exactly like it's supposed to, bro. You know that.
I do know that. You know what? I actually reading this morning, I had there's certain, on God's time, not my time, right? And that really did hit home this morning for me when I was going through some of those things. But before we dive into a bunch of stuff, I will be on at 4 p.m. Eastern today with another John Hewlett, who is a franchise guy that started a bunch of tax franchises and stuff like that. But we'll be on at 4 p.m. Jon Majak, tell us a little bit about yourself for the few people that don't know who you are.
Yes, man. Sir. Yes, sir. Shawn, it's great to be here. I've been an entrepreneur my entire life. I came from the pressure washing world. I was knocking on doors at 11, 12, 13 years old, just trying to earn some trust, figure it all out. I've been through a lot in my business career. Somehow I feel like I'm about to turn 40 this year, but I feel sometimes like I'm a veteran as an entrepreneur. This is all I know. So 20 something years of writing my own paycheck and hustling, grinding, and falling a lot. Eventually, I started stacking up some wins. And truth be told, we all still stack up losses, right, these days. So not everything's sunshine and rainbows. So built Power Clean, my old pressure washing company up. And when I sold it, I stumbled into Mr. Pipeline. Had no intentions to even start a marketing agency. Shawn, I just basically had a skill set with helping businesses win. And after I sold the business, the pool guy said that I gave him my last check. He said, now that you're done and you're out Power Clean, what are you doing? I said, I have no idea. He said, well, let's give it a shot with me. Can you help me? I'm like, market for a pool company? I'll try. Long story short, I took him from like $1.5 million to just over $3 million within a year. He had a record-breaking year. I used to sell a lot of leads. So I'd go to a house, I'd draw up painting leads, draw up gutter leads. All these guys came to me like, what are you going to do now? I'm like, let's market. 2 clients, 10 clients, 20 clients. Now we have north of 400 or 500 clients.
Wow.
12th year of business. And it's just doing right by people is the name of the game. So that's what I mean, man. God doesn't make mistakes. So the fact that we're here today at this exact time, we're going to hit somebody and make some impact like we're supposed to.
Yeah, I am on page with that, man. There's so much cool. There's so many cool things and all that you said. One of the things that I didn't hear was that you had a great business plan, a strategy, profit motive, and all that stuff that just sort of came by just trying to help somebody else out. And I think those are the things that real magic can happen when you're just trying to figure out and not knowing. And it's a very similar story. And I never want to compare, but I try to identify with people. And that's what happened with Hire, Lead, Chill. I mean, and through all that, we were with Blue Skies, Platt and I, and we owned home service businesses. And the next thing I know, we're like nearing 100 employees, and I'm going, hey, dudes, we got to figure this recruiting thing out, or we're going to be, this is absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Shawn, good idea. Why don't you do that? So I did do that. It took me about 1.5 years to put it together and this and that. And so it worked really well for us. And we ran into a couple people at, a convention or whatever, and over a beer, that we just start talking about it. And the next thing I know, we're recruiting for a buddy that needs 4 window cleaners. I have no idea, how I don't know what to charge. We don't do this for other people. So there was 0 profit motive. There was 0 anything about it. I think those are trails that you don't see that God just knows where that's going, and you just have to trust. So let's talk a little bit about that. I've had conversations recently, and I had a real good conversation with Kirk Kempton about trying to balance faith with business, because at times it seems as though it can be contradictory, and specific things like, cash, money, profit, that one, but also tough people things like the single mom that's not really doing what she's supposed to at work. She has 2 kids at home. We know we probably need to terminate her, right? That's really, all those things are really tough things to balance with faith sometimes. How do you deal with that type of, those tough things?
So it's a great question, and I think it should be unpacked for sure. So the first 5 years of my life, our first 5 years of my business journey, give or take, I was advised to never lean in and have talks about God in business. It's just the name of the game. Well, it's ironic that those were probably the worst 5 years of my life. And I'll tell you this, my mentor is Josh Latimer. Love the guy to death. He is one of the most special humans that has ever walked the face of this earth. Now, I recently had a conversation with him, and we were talking, and we got deep, and I said, Josh, I need to make sure I'm heading in the right direction. I need you to sign off, right? He said something to me I'll never forget. Don't ever doubt the fact that you're a businessman, right? Just like God needs doctors and lawyers and pharmacists, God needs businessmen.
Yep.
And that hit me so hard, Shawn. I'm just like, how beautiful was that? So if like you're listening to this and you're not sure if you should lean into your faith or not, the answer is right in front of you. Like you were given this skill set, you were given this brain to execute on business. And don't forget to give the glory to the person that actually gave you that brain and gave you that heart and that soul and that spirit. And that's where I find the magic in business.
Yeah.
And I was always driving after profit, and we still do. We always want to be a profitable company, right? Yeah. But the name of the game for me is, how much profit do you need, right? How much money do you need to make a year for you to live a great life? Got enough. And then it starts to become dull. The blade becomes dull. And then I said to myself, how do I sharpen it? How do I reinvigorate? Because it's not more money. And for me, it was impact. It was figuring out how to be God's hands and feet on the ground and use my business as a vessel for being good and doing good in the world. So we'll take care of our employees at a deeper level. We'll take care of the community at a deeper level. Like, we're always figuring out how can we serve from a mission-driven perspective. And like, that to me is where all the power is in business. You're doing God's work in business, and there's nothing like it.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And it is true. The business person and the entrepreneur are at a really high level on what the purpose of life's all about. And that's serving others. You can't make money unless you're serving others, probably better than a lot of other people that are trying to accomplish those things and do the things. And so it's a blood sport, right? We know that business is a game, it's a sport, and it's tough to win sometimes. But if you keep the focus on, I always say this, I get in a hell of a lot of trouble the more I think about Shawn Day. I say that all the time. I get in a lot of trouble. Things don't go as well. I'm just getting off course when I think about me, because then I'm not doing what God wants me to do in most cases. I'm trying, it's my will over his, and that never wins. So
you and I talk about that all the time. Whenever we meet, whenever you and I are chopping it up, we're never talking about what our balance sheet looked like, right? We're always talking about our purpose and trying to do good in this world. So that's why we're so connected, man.
Yeah. And it is. It's, I remember seeing you. I don't remember what convention it was. And when we were talking about your son in a little bit, and I said, my daughter, teenagers, I'm looking on my phone and they're doing 90 miles per hour and this and that. And so I've told that story to a number of people, and people like you. And then there's some other people. I would have brought the gun out and I would have grabbed that kid. And what I did was I sat the kid down and I had a conversation about, I don't want you to have to tell a parent that you killed somebody. You can't, so it wasn't about me. It wasn't even about my daughter in the car. It was about him trying to get through to him. And John, I had him over. He's a kid that's got, lives by himself, and he's in high school. His parent, one is in jail, one is in California. He lives in Ohio. So I had him over for Easter. He was just over last night with the family, had some dinner. He's leaving for the Army June 1st. And so he never stops telling me how appreciative he was in that conversation. And so that's, again, that's just the story. You and I talk about those types of things. It's about looking through the lens of other people and what they're going through and all that. And I think you do that so well on all kinds of different levels. And I have a lot of respect for you on that, man.
Thanks, man. Feelings mutual. You only get one shot on this spinning rock. You might as well show up.
Show up. I love it. That's it. That's it. I took that to heart, man. I show up. Next thing I know, I'm on a park board talking about pickleball courts.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
Somebody asked me to go. I said, hell yeah. What are we doing? Well, okay. So anyway, I want to get to your book too, man, because I did read your book, and it's amazing. Ring the bell.
Thank you, Bo.
Yep.
Appreciate it.
So a couple things with it. I want to talk about the narrow road. How did that come about, and talk and touch just a little bit about that for the audience?
So the narrow road is that place where an entrepreneur, first of all, has that idea, and then that honeymoon phase of that idea falls off, and you start getting to work. And in that work is the narrow road. In that work is a lot of hills and valleys and a dark forest of, like, you don't know who's going to come get you, like what family member is going to doubt you, what competitor is going to chew you up and spit you out, what capital you're going to not have, right? Like all these things try to crush you and annihilate you on that narrow road. And it's a real intricate and essential part of the formula of success. Because I believe during that narrow road process where you're coming up with your idea and your brand and you're figuring out how to like create your website, push it out there, I believe you're being tested. And if you can pass that test, you've made it to the next milestone where you're out of the narrow road. You're done doubting yourself. You're done listening to those distractions. Oh. And now you're at the end of that narrow road and you're gazing at the mountain, this beautiful mountain town. And in that town is everything you've ever wanted. Everything you ever wanted. The employees live there, the charities, the community, the service that you offer can now be seen by people. And it's just a beautiful thing. And I said it in the book. If anybody's listening today that is on the narrow road and you're struggling and you're not feeling like it's the right venture, if you get chewed up and spit out, it's okay. I got chewed up and spit out on so many ideas over the last 25, 30 years. That's okay. God has the exact plan for you, because if this is supposed to be your mission, you're going to get knocked down, kept down, mud in your face, doubting yourself, but you're going to get back up and keep going. And you know you've made it through the narrow road when you can breathe again. Yeah. When you've got some sales, you've got some help, you're not chained to the business like you were during that initial phase, dude. And then it starts getting really exciting.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And so the narrow road is everybody's path if you're going to be an entrepreneur. I mean, it just is, right? We all have the brainchild. We all have those doubting Thomases, and I, and I tell my kids this. It's a matter of, when things go wrong or things go not your way, because it's not necessarily wrong. It's just not your way, right? And so those things are what uncover your character as well, man. And it's character building that we need to grow. And you can't build character if you're handed cake and rainbows and unicorns all day long. You've really got to have shitty things happen to you in order. I turned 50 a number of years ago, and I sold my business, and I never saw this coming, man. I completely lost my identity. I was like, sold the business. Everything was fine. And then like my wife and I, we were married 25 years at that time. And I'm like, hey, we got these extra 4 hours together because I'm not chained to my business anymore like I was.
Right.
And, after a week of that, she's like, would you go clean something or repair something or do something? I'm cooking dinner. She was just doing what she's done all 25 years of our marriage.
Sure.
And at that same time, my little girl who I, was so close with and still am, but she was now 12 years old and the door was shut and she's in her bedroom now. And I'm just looking around going, and what I heard and my perception was so messed up was they don't need me anymore. Right.
Wow.
And so I was just lost. I was totally lost on what I was doing in life and everything. And that, I thank God that happened because it took me to a whole different place of my life. It was really hard what I went through, but it really was worth it. And at the time, had I said, man, God, please make this go away, which I probably did. It just was something I needed to go through, experience to understand and be much more grateful. And now I've learned to be present. I've learned to be present with whatever is going on in conversation. Before I'd be thinking about business tomorrow, everything but right now, right? I was, and I didn't even hear half the things my poor wife was saying or my kid or whoever I was talking to. I make it a point because of that experience that I will look at somebody in the eye and do everything I can to focus on what they're saying, being right here. And it has opened up an entirely new world for me.
That's great.
It's amazing, man. But
that's deep, man. That's enlightenment. Somebody told me a long time ago the simple quote. I think it's just a few words: "Be where your feet are." Be where your feet are. Right?
Yeah.
Like we're here right now. It's easy for you to think about the next question. Think about all the things you have going on in your life. It's easy for me to think about my agenda's packed today. Why though? Because this is all we have is right here at this exact second. Why not enjoy it?
Exactly. This is where life happens, man.
That's
it's
exactly
not tomorrow. And it's not, you think of the past. A lot of times we kind of then start that regret thing. Man, I wish I would have. Why didn't I? How that happened? And then we think about the future. That's a little anxiety, a little worry, a little, man, you can't. And that's fantasy island. The future's not even real, man. And there's nothing you can do about the past but learn. So life happens right here. And one thing with me is I've never found God tomorrow, and I never found him 2 months ago, man. He's always right here too. And that's where life happens.
Yeah, that's great, dude. That's great.
So you had some pretty all-star, people that helped you a little bit with this book, or that maybe you interviewed. Debbie Sardone, Brandon Vaughn, and I know Josh, I think, did the what was it, the Prelude?
The Forward.
And so you had Dave Carroll in there, I think, right? And a couple other people. Yep. Did you see anything when you were interviewing them for the book? Did you see anything that you thought you were, that you didn't know about them, or that surprised you about anything? Or
every single person brought a gold nugget or 10 that my mind was blown on everybody. Yeah. And I'll never forget when I wrote the book. I was so excited. I said, God placed this on my heart. I'm going to get it out there. This is an assignment. I have to move on this, right? And the craziest thing was something felt incomplete because I was speaking on everything marketing, but I didn't have massive experience with offline marketing with door hangers and yard signs. I just did it, but I wasn't the best at it. Same with I never built $1 billion business. So as much as I want to talk on it, I really couldn't speak from experience like Tommy Mello did. Right. Brandon Vaughn, he's done franchise, he's done coaching. Like I've done coaching, haven't done franchising. So as much as I spoke on everything, something didn't feel right. And I'll never forget the moment, Shawn, where I woke up in the middle of the night and it had a rush coming through my body. And it was basically me being told that the purpose of this book is to have the greatest humans in their field contribute everything they got alongside of everything you've done. And it's that's what's going to make the difference. Yeah. And it made the book probably 6 to 8 months longer until it was published. And it drove me crazy with the editing and all that stuff.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, I was being tested. I passed the test, and then the book took off and it took on a life of its own. And I never thought about the moment when I let the book go. Like, I was always in the trenches of trying to get it done. And then I finally published it. And the response I got, it blew my mind. And I'm so humbled and grateful. But at the end of the day, it's like, it's helping, serving. It's doing what I thought it would do when I had the idea. And that's a pretty amazing thing.
Yeah, that's awesome. John, the thing is, I think probably all of them, and I don't know, I know Debbie Sardone really well, and I know the others just briefly, not nearly as well as you do, but it seems to me that it's everyone. I know, like for Debbie, she used to clean on her own. She had her mother's business and kind of helped her out a little bit, scrubbing toilets, and now she's like the Tony Robbins of the residential home cleaning space. She gets 500 business owners to a convention every single April and just blows the roof off. I mean, there's dancing, there's DJs, there's bubbles, there's all it's just an amazing event. But she just keeps on going and going and going and going. And, and I think I introduced Josh Latimer and her a few years back, and they just connected, obviously, and he's been at her event talking and things like that. So, but they're just people, man. They're just people that started, like anybody watching this podcast right now or listening to it. They were just people scrubbing toilets, digging this or whatever it was, just like you were. You had a lot of challenges in your life, and I know. So these aren't people that just came from a lot of money or had lucky breaks happen to them.
No.
What is it that mindset, right? We talk about mindset. You are, definitely somebody that is completely just absorbed with the concept of mindset. And I think that I'm all over the place a little bit, but it's because that's how my brain works. You got the book, right? You got the book with Ring the Bell, and you're talking about people that have accomplished massive things, but they're just normal human beings. And the mindset is one thing that's different. But what is that mindset thing? Is there one I know there's a lot of things and it's different for people probably, but what is that gold nugget thing that people don't get, or they just are fearful of, maybe that they can't? What is that? Can you bump a little bit of that?
Absolutely. So the first thing I want to touch on is the fact that none of us started off on third base. All of us started off, anybody who's really done some magical work or really meaningful work in their life, they've started off in the batter's box, just putting on some gloves and missing a lot. And I do have respect for people who started off on third and drove home and made impact, because it happens. And God gave them their own story and their own challenges too, that we know nothing about. But one thing I can tell you is this: the common theme of the killers that have really made it in life, it always comes down to this: everything you're looking for is on the other side of the work that you're avoiding. And I'll say that again: every single thing that you're looking for is on the side of the work that you're avoiding. So if you don't want to work out, yet you want to feel good, and you want your body to look good, your mind to look good, it's like you got to do the work, right? Same thing in the business. Like, if you want an automated business, Shawn, nothing is more painful, at least to me, than writing SOPs and manuals. And like, I am not an analytical dude. Like, that's my least strength, the lowest strength that I have. And I can tell you, like, that's the work I was avoiding. And I did it with my team, and we got it done. It's like automating is on the other side. So remember, don't doubt yourself with where you're at today. Just know that if you're waking up late in the morning and you got a lot of work to do, wake up earlier. Focus on this is another huge takeaway I want your audience to run with. Business is a reflection of its owner. And we've heard it in E-Myth. We've read it that everything lives and dies at the feet of the CEO. Yep. You have got to get your life together from a personal perspective before you think you can just grow $1 million or multi-million-dollar business. Nobody wants to work for the person that is a complete mess. right? No matter how much revenue the business does. They want to work for somebody who has discipline and leadership and consistency and cares. And like all that stuff happens from the work you do when nobody's looking.
Yep.
So focus on yourself personal, fill up your cup, and it'll overflow into your business.
I love it.
Yeah, man.
And that really is it. I mean, I know I'm quoting somebody. This was certainly not my thought, but something like, what is the difference between successful people and unsuccessful people? Is that successful people do the things that unsuccessful people do not want to do, even when, and especially when they don't want to do it either, but they just damn well do it.
Yeah. You know, Eric Thomas, the pastor, he's E.T., right?
Yep.
E.T. says that all the time. Like everything is right there for you, but nobody wants to wake up at 4 or 5,
right.
But the successful do it, right? Nobody wants to write SOPs, but they do it. Right. And it's train, but they do it. You have to do the stuff that is right in front of you. Get to work, get it done, and be imperfect along the way.
Yep. I love that. Yeah. Perfection is overrated, man. I can tell you that right now because, well, mainly because it's unattainable, but it's, it's a lot. I say not perfection, but progress, and progress is what you want, man. So where you're coaching, you did a book. What's going on with coaching and that sort of thing? Who's sort of your niche or your target market that you're most passionate about helping?
So I help business owners that are looking to grow. So I've got at the end of the day, I'm looking for people that they need a little bit of encouragement, right? They need to get out of their own mind. So we help them grow in mindset. We help them grow from a marketing, admin, production, and sales component. Like this is what we do. But at the end of the day, I'm very big on accountability. I feel like people need to call their shot, and then they need to back it up with small milestones along the way. So like I'm really good at basically seeing somebody's heart and soul, like they get stuck a lot. And somehow I was given the gift of saying like, let's unravel that. Let's find out your God-given gifts and let's get to work on that alongside of like, let's make sure we're also chasing your purpose. Because not everybody's purpose is just conducting business. There's other greater, bigger things, charities and charity work and all that stuff. So it's like I try to do this thing so people feel fulfilled at the same time, no matter what it is. And for me these days, I'm so focused on, I've got several businesses, but at the end of the day, they all come back to service of others, helping home service providers grow, scale, and get unstuck.
Get unstuck. Yeah. Do you ever come across somebody where you're coaching them and it's just somebody that shouldn't be in business or shouldn't be doing what they're doing, as far as it just are never going to, I hate to use the word never, but you just have to tell them, look, dude, this might not be for you. Have you ever come up against that?
Yeah, I have. It's a tough conversation because people like you and I, we believe in people all the way through. So like we'll go until we can't see, trying to help these people get out of their way.
Right.
But there's nothing crazier than when you coach somebody, you give them, say they have an hour of your time. Somehow you're 2.5 hours in, you've given them everything, left it all on the floor. I've walked out of coaching people completely floored, like crying. I couldn't believe I gave them that much. And then I gave them, and then they're like, I got it. That's exactly what I needed, John. And then I meet with them the following week and not a single thing got done.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow. Who's insane, me or you? It's like not even a small thing was done. Those are the people that I'm just not sure if they're cut out for entrepreneurship, because the greatest skill set of entrepreneurs is self-motivation. You've got to be able to do things and move the needle when you don't want to.
Yep.
So we get off the call and they're all motivated and nothing gets done. Yep. Shawn, you've heard me say this before, but the difference in the breakthrough happened in my life when I realized that motivation is just it's just gas, right?
Yep.
Dedication is the name of the game. You got to be consistently dedicated to doing the work. And there's certain people that just do not have a bone of dedication in their body, and that's sad.
Yeah, it is. Especially if they think they want to be an entrepreneur and it's just not maybe in their constitution or in their DNA.
But that's
You know,
okay. It's okay
yeah,
to work
and
work
that's
like
okay. Yeah,
that's okay. Like you don't
absolutely.
not everybody's built for it. And that I'm no better, you're no better. None of us are
Yep,
better because we're entrepreneurs. It's like you are the perfect person for somebody else's business who can make great money, have a good life of freedom, structure. It's better for your brain to be structured and get a paycheck.
right.
Dude, hats off to you. Like do that,
Absolutely.
you
And
know?
another thing too, John, along with that, um, in the last, especially in the last maybe 5, 6 years or so on social media, everybody wants to be $1 million company, a $5 million company, a $10 million. And it goes back to, one of your original points, where do you want to be? What is your purpose, right?
Mhm.
What are you wanting to achieve? What's your why? All those things,
Yeah.
because you might not want to do the things you need to do to be a 5 million,
Yeah.
and it's there's people that I know that, hey man, I want to be able to hunt and fish. That's what my
Mhm.
goal is with my business. So I want to make 80, 90 grand a year, which is a great living. And
Mhm.
I want to have time to fish and hunt and do things. And
It's a great
there's
life.
nothing wrong with that, man.
It's a great
So
life.
I tell people, don't jump on the bandwagon if it's not the bus you're supposed to be on, if that's not the bus that you want to be on. There's another, those people a lot of times that do those things are the most miserable people. Good
Gotta
people, but they're just miserable because they're
Mhm.
they're losing focus of what they really want out of life.
Yes. So true, bro. So true. People need to start if you're listening today, you're watching today, if you're not sure what what you want to accomplish in life or what the end result looks like, Shawn just nailed it. First of all, figure out what your life goals are, right? Put them on a board, 5, 10, 20-year like plan. What does that look like? You want several houses, one house, you want a house that's paid off, right? Do you want like financial stability, right? Some people just want to invest in certain areas. Like define what that looks like. Do you want your kids' college paid off? You need clarity. Like build those things out in your life plan, but also attach how much money you need to make that, right? Not how much money your business needs, but what kind of life do you need from an owner perspective? It's probably around 100 grand, give or take, right?
Yep, yep,
75 up to 200, whatever, how many kids, wherever you live. But like make sure like that's what success looks like. Because I'll tell you what, Shawn, one of the greatest aha moments of my life was it happened over like the last, I want to say 3 or 4 years. And I remember looking at when I was a kid, I wrote down in this notebook that I had because I journaled a lot when I was a little guy. And I wrote down like, when I get older, I want to be a businessman with a wife and a son. And I want my son's name to be Camden. And I want him to do this. And I want to do that. Dude, I'll never forget it. I was unpacking up this folder and I was floored, bro.
I bet.
I got the chills telling you that.
I
I
bet.
opened up. I'm like, I'm a businessman. I have a wife and a son. His name is Camden. And like, dude, I'll never forget it. That was the moment where I'm like, I'm living the life I always dreamed of.
Yeah, yeah.
Nothing more, nothing less. And like, that's what I feel like. People just take a deep breath, divorce yourself from the outcome, and be present in what you have. And you might very well find out you're living the dream that you've
Right.
always wished you were.
Right. Absolutely. I love that, man.
Yeah.
And those things are so possible. Um, it's, one of the things that happened with my wife and I, it took us 12 years to have our first child. And we went through a roller coaster ride with that. And I remember one of the best quotes I ever heard was from my sister-in-law. My wife was about 10 years and we were trying for like 10 years. And her sister came in out of town and there's a bottle of wine on the table. And we're all just sitting around talking. And my wife's like, Aaron, is it really worth it? Because she had 2 kids, the sister-in-law. Is it really worth it? I think I'm ready to give up. It's been such, and her sister looks at her and says, Amy, it's by far the best thing I've ever done, but I don't recommend it for everyone. And it was just a perfect thing for her to say at that time because it was love both ways. You're going to be, and to your point, what you said just a minute ago, it's going to be okay. I have to tell myself that like weekly, man. When I get tired, I get really bound up in business and some stress is kind of getting to me. And it's like, you got to take that deep breath because it's going to be okay. It really is going to be okay, man.
You better believe it. I get the same way. Like it's not all wins with me. It's mostly losses. I just You come on Facebook or you come on podcasts or you're on social. What are you going to do? Share a bunch of losses? Of course,
Right.
it's a platform.
Right,
It's
right.
a platform for wins and highlights and engagement. So it's like that's what people buy into. Dude, my life is full of stress, full of struggle, and full of heartache. And at the end of the day, I shake it off. And I remember what my brother said when I was in a really bad place. And it was just one word. It was breathe.
Yeah,
Like breathe. It's okay.
literally.
And he said when you came in this world, what's the first thing you did was you took a breath. What's the last thing you do before you leave? You take a breath.
Yeah.
So don't forget to breathe in the middle and feel it. It's okay. And I'm like, dude, it got my brain unstuck. And that's
Yeah.
what I do now. I just try to breathe through any things I have going on.
Yeah.
Keep
Yeah.
going,
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. So with people that you coach, is there like a certain dollar amount or a certain like a revenue amount you're looking at, or is there where they're stuck? Because we always talk about these sort of ceilings and purgatories, what you need to do to get through those purgatories and up and through, because people don't realize how difficult it is to grow a business as far as it costs a lot of money to grow. You think you grow because you have a lot of money, but you have to reinvest that in. Do you have sort of a niche type of business owner that, I think most of us kind of want to grow, but is there a little bit tighter niche that you look for?
Yeah, mine is just if you're doing north of $250,000, it shows me that you're serious.
Love
and that. Like everybody that I coached that did 150 and less, it was always the same theme. I would give them everything I had. I still love them. I still pour into them. If anybody messaged me right now doing 130, I got your back. I may not coach you, but I might mentor you and help you just break through if I can. But at the end of the day, it's like anybody who's doing 150 or less, you're typically like an owner operator. You're by yourself. You're afraid to hire, or you can't hire good help. It's the same theme. And we all remember that when you were in that spot, like once you're able to prove that you can earn that type of money where you can hire some help, maybe buy another truck, you're ready for a coach. You're ready for somebody who's already ran this race. And that's pretty much it. And I feel like it's the same way, whether it's in Mr. Pipeline or any other business in the home service world. Same with yours, Shawn. It's like you'll help anybody that you can, but there's something special about the guys who've kind of made it through the narrow road and are ready for the next shot. Yeah.
Anytime. There's one of my favorite things. You talk to people that are successful and I enjoy that, but I love like you go to Clip-A-Con and somebody comes up to you after you speak and you always, 2 or 3 people might come up to you, but you always see this person kind of waiting in the background because they want to kind of talk to you, but they don't want anybody else around. That's the guy that I'm looking for, man, because that's the guy that, hey, can I talk to you for just a couple minutes? And that couple minutes is no less than an hour and a half or 2.5 hour conversation, tears. My wife and I don't know how we're going to get through this. All those, that's the one, dude, where I just go, I just can't wait to have that conversation. And that's that 250,000 and they're trying to figure things, he's talking about getting rid of his whole, I want to get rid of everybody. And I know that it's just like, that's the dude that is so in that dark business place where he feels so alone and he's got the courage though to talk to somebody about it. And I tell people, man, out there, don't be alone. There's no reason to be alone. You can reach out to so many people and you can just message somebody and say, listen, you don't know who I am, but I'm in a really dark place right now. And I don't know too many people that I hang with like you, John, Plata, and the rest of them that wouldn't reach out to you as soon as they had a minute to reach out and help you, man.
Better believe it. You better believe it. Yeah. And it's not even, sometimes for people like us, it's not even you have to put the avatar in place with dollar amount as you grow your business for your own clarity. But people like you and I, if you have a growth mindset and you're not, it's either fixed or growth. If you're fixed, everything else is everybody else's fault. It's your family, your dog, your spouse, your employees, like everything is fixed and it's nobody's fault other than others. Growth. If somebody comes up to you and they're like, Shawn, I'm stuck, man, but I'm trying to grow and I hired somebody, like that's the person. That's the person. who needs just a little bit of guidance, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. That's so amazing.
Mhm.
So we are Hire, Lead, and Chill. So I might as well try to talk real quick before we wrap up about something. I always tell people, and I love to have people on that are marketing gurus, man, and really understand marketing like you do. Because I can take any sentence with the word marketing, take the word marketing out, replace it with the word recruiting, and it works every single time, man. It just does, right?
Yep.
We just have this different spectrum.
Mhm.
Do you, what type of people do you look for? Because you've obviously done some hiring in your time. What do you look for in somebody? And I think it was Dave Carroll, when I read your book, that had mentioned he likes people that are down and out and maybe screwed up in life. And
Yeah.
I've got a client actually that has hired a couple people, felons, that are so grateful to have a job. They're just head over heels, and they will go to the ends of earth for this guy.
Yeah.
Of course, you got to do due diligence and all that sort of thing. But who you look for when you're looking to add somebody to the team?
Yeah, I look for somebody like I just can feel them immediately. Feel it immediately that they're a good person. It's almost like you can't even put your finger on it through their resume. You can just kind of see that this person is a good human being, will go to bat for you. It speaks honestly. Like if somebody says, "Hey," I always ask people like, "What are your strengths? What are your weaknesses?" And it's always entertaining during that moment. But I always remember the people who say, "Truthfully, here's my weaknesses. I'm not good at Excel. I'm really bad at finances. Like if this has something to do with finances, I might not be the right person." And I'm like, that's the person. That's the person. Because we can help you level up your financial game. Nobody needs you to be a CPA, right? But we can help you there. But what I can't find is that authenticity, right, in a resume. And it's like I just look for people that keep it real, that are looking for a real career, and truly like lead with service. It matters to me. So like everybody on my team, it doesn't matter what business I'm in. Everybody on every single team I'm in, they have to have that servant's heart, because I'm not perfect. And if somebody's expecting to come work for me and they're like, I need this perfect, this perfect, this perfect, like, thank you for the opportunity, but that's not me. That's corporate America. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm doing my best. I'm going to trip and stumble, but I promise you one thing. We're going to walk this journey together. I'll take care of you, your family, your kids, your 401k. We got this. But don't ever hold me to the fire that I need to be perfect, because that's not me. Yeah. So it's like a two-way relationship.
Yep, it's and then you're matching your culture. That is you, man. You're a servant, right? And that's got to be your culture, and that's got to be the people that are going to be on your team, or it doesn't work for them either.
Love that, bro.
Yep. All right, man. We're up at 45 minutes. So, John, is there anything else that you want to say or can say to anybody out there that's maybe in a dark place that go to jonmajak.com for sure. There's the book there, Ring the Bell. And it's funny because you haven't really promoted a lot like you're not pounding out things. You didn't tell me to promote this in any way, shape, or form.
No.
I actually got a copy of it and read it, and that's why I wanted to talk about it.
Awesome, man.
What else you got? Anything to wrap up?
Absolutely. So first of all, first thing I want to do is say thank you, Shawn. Love you, bro.
Love you
Much
too,
respect,
man.
always, bro. Remember, whether you're listening to this now or you're listening to this in the future, this is being recorded during Mental Health Awareness Month. I just put signs throughout my entire county, that little signs. I was looking for one, Shawn. I don't have it in here, but it was like, your life matters, don't quit. Or you're loved more than you know. Like, don't give up. I put these around my town. Somehow they got picked up by the news and it just went viral.
Awesome.
And dude, I'll have to send you some stuff. But like, talk about mind-blowing. And I only did it because when I was in a really bad place, I was looking for a sign. I remember just driving around. It was 15 months of my life I didn't want to be here. It was like 6 years ago. I was just done. I was driving around and I'm like, God, does nobody care? Like, nobody's asking me anything. I just need a sign. And I remember thinking, I'm like, there's no sign. And thankfully, I'm here today by God's grace. But what was on my heart over the last few months is, you know what? Mental Health Awareness Month is coming up. And I'm going to try to give some people some signs. So I took these, I put them out throughout the county. They got picked up. And dude, the messages behind the scenes are, this is everything I needed. Today has been horrible and I didn't want to be here. Thank you for this. It made me smile. Dude, it's like the greatest thing probably the greatest thing I've ever done in my life type thing, you know?
Absolutely. That's a great, great message, man.
Thanks, man. So it's like, if you're listening today, just know that you've got people like Shawn, you've got people like myself. Message us. Let it, even if it's just a, hey, heard you on the podcast, would love to connect one day. It doesn't have to be super serious. Just know that we're here for you and you're not alone and that you are loved. And that's all I got, man. But just remember, like, you got one time on this spinning rock. Don't end it soon. Don't live in depression. People have made it through. We want to help you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. Great message. I can't add a thing to that, man. So I'm going to wrap it up. Jon, thanks again for being on, brother. And if there's, as you know, anything I can do to help you in any way, shape, or form, let me know. I think I'm going to be actually hooking up with Tim and getting on a podcast in a week or two with him. So, so that'll be fun. But everybody, reach out to Jon anytime, any place. JonMajak.com. That's how you reach him. And I will be on 4 p.m. Eastern time again today. I think it's live. If it's not, we'll record it and post it somewhere. So God bless. Take good care, everybody. Jon, thanks again.
Pleasure, dude. Thank you so much.